Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. This is going to be a series I do called Raw Reviews. I'm going to start out with Junji Ito. I've got Gyo, the Death-Stench creeps. Bum, bum, bum. So yeah, let's get into it. So Gyo, it came out in 2001 and includes 2 bonus stories in the end. I'll cover those as well. I didn't take notes about those. I did take notes about this main story. That's what I've got here. So, let's get into it. So, it starts off Tadashi and Kaori. The main characters there introduced. Tadashi is swimming in the ocean, and he's swimming from some sharks, and something zooms past him. And he comes up, and Kaori's on a boat. She's a very pretty girl. She grabs his hand and pulls him up, and we come to find out Kaori's kind of getting sick. She has a very sensitive nose, to say the least of it. Her nose is essentially a main character in the beginning half of this story. Like, they even have an argument about how Tadashi's breath stinks, and she even goes on to say that if they kissed 10 times a day, it would be nice if Tadashi brushed his teeth that many times a day. That's insane. So after their argument, they argue, and we come to find out that Tadashi's uncle is supplying their little getaway, whatever they're doing right now. They're in Okinawa, and they need to go back to Japan. They don't need to right now, just Kaori wants to go back to Japan. They've had an argument. So Tadashi's uncle, his name is Koyanagi. He has a laboratory. We'll get into that in a second. Excuse me. So we're soon introduced to our first creature of this, as you will. Let's see. Basically, when Kaori runs out of the house, they hear some wrestling going on in the woods, and something zings past them. And basically, she gets this crazy smell of rottenness, nastiness, nasty junk. And they go back inside, and Kaori starts to shower and shower and shower. She can't get the smell out of her nose, though. She just cannot get it out of her nose. And then she hears something rustling in the corner. Like, all of a sudden, Kaori falls over, she passes out. Tadashi hears her, runs upstairs, comes in to rescue her, and then something zooms past him. And yeah, it turns out one of the creatures is in the house with them. It corners itself in a room and accidentally smacks into a wall so hard it knocks itself out, basically. So it's enough time for Tadashi to put a garbage bag around the fish. And then it's just a simple fish. Like, it's kind of slightly decaying, spider legs on it. Like, that's a big thing of like, I guess I should probably pull up a little picture here, is that this is kind of a good accurate picture of the fish. The OG fish right here. So yeah, that's the fish I'm talking about right now. So, like, at first I thought that the spider legs were kind of a parasite, but within the ocean. But my God, it goes way, way further than that. Kaori tells him he has to fully get rid of the garbage bag, at which point the bag flies into the room, blown up with the creature in it. So from the gases that are coming from this decaying creature has blown this bag up, and now it's flying around and flying into the room towards them. So Tadashi grabs the bag, and one of like the creature's sharp, like the spider legs, stabs his hand. Stab, stab, stab. He's like, ouch. Like the bag flies out of the room. Tadashi runs out, and he's like, okay, I think it went into the ocean. Thank God it's gone. Then he starts hearing some ruckus around him. Now there's tons of these little things coming up. I mean, like 10s, 20s of them just running up and down the beach. He's like, what the hell is going on right now? Let's see. So then now we cut to a fishing boat out fishing. People have started catching tons of these fish with spider legs, and they're being overran by them on their boat. Cut to the beach where beachgoers see a shark fin, and out of the ocean comes a massive great white shark on the spider legs. I'm going to go ahead and include some of those manga scenes right here. So I absolutely love seeing the shark, the like the tubes coming out of the gills. That was really kind of cool to look for. It would be cool to imagine like tons of even smaller little like oceanic creatures crawling all over the tubes coming from its gills. Man, my imagination can run on that. That would be, I mean, they couldn't even make, I don't know. Like James Gunn could make something like that maybe the Pirates of the Caribbean people, but I don't know. That's crazy. A crazy scene. So let's see. Eventually there's a scene where Tadashi, I'm going to include this manga scene right now. It's where Tadashi's saying, don't worry, it'll go away. And, it's just like, yeah, I fucking hope it does. Of course, Kaori attracts the shark's attention by screaming about the smell, and that attracts the shark's attention. They run upstairs in the house. Luckily, the shark, it basically flies out of a wall on the second story, and it's heavy enough to smack the ground and die from fall damage. So then the pair then head out to Tadashi's uncle Koyanagi's lab, where they meet Miss Yoshiyama and Dr. Koyanagi, as Kaori has started to get kind of sick. Dr. Koya agrees that she does not look good. They stay there, and Kaori starts going crazy, saying, I can smell it. It's coming closer. And it's coming closer. I can smell it. And she's freaking out and everything. And coming down from the sky, they go outside. Tadashi runs after her. And coming down from the sky is none other than, you guessed it, the garbage bag that has the original creature in it. So it's pretty much chasing them down. The bag pops right in front of them, and we see that the fish is rotten and decaying. The legs are still moving. Carrie screams, "Get rid of it!" So Tadashi, being a great boyfriend, rebags it into a new bag, and they bring it back to his uncle. Lol. His uncle opens up the bag and has smelled the smell before. The smell of a human corpse. Dr. Koyanagi says he has smelled the smell before because his father died in his lab as he wanted to. His dad had said he wanted to die in his lab. He got his wish. It was a hot summer though, and his body decayed and it stank. Stank like ass. So let's see. So Koyanagi says he'll take a more in-depth look at the bag. We'll cut ahead a bit to Koyanagi. He's ahead and, he's in his lab doing some work. He decided to dissect the fish on top of the spider leg creature. He runs it under the sink to get, I guess, a fish bone out of it or whatever. And the whole fish decays, and it's just the spider leg contraption. It looks a lot like a Venus flytrap, like head. The contraption does with the spider legs around it. 2 exhaust pipes on the end of it. So Koyanagi decides to touch it. The doctor decides to touch it, and it results in these scenes. I'm going to show you right now. So we cut to Kaori and Tadashi straight chilling. They get a call from Koyanagi saying to come to their lab. They go, and Koyanagi explains that the creature is the result of the Imperial Japanese Army's World War II research into a virus that causes its host to produce a deadly and repulsive stench in a desperate effort to turn the tide of the war. His father developed a walking machine which pumps the virus into a host and causes the host to release the gas which powers the machine's movement. Walking machines were built to carry the host farther, allowing them to reach and sicken enemy troops. However, during the war, American aircraft sunk the ship, carrying the prototypes for the walking machines. I know that's a lot to take in. That is supposed to be our beginning theory of what's going on here. This isn't concrete, though. This is just a theory. This is something similar that his father swore happened. He doesn't know if this actually happened, So this is just a running theory on what may be freaking happening. So then Kaori isn't feeling well, and she's starting to get boils on her face. She's going down the hallway to find a bathroom. Then comes in Koyanagi's amputated arm, walking on its own via the spider legs. He explains the makeup of the spider legs is quite simple, but that the germ in it is what's really... Sorry, I'm trying to fix something back here. Hold on, let me fix my... Alright, there we go. Let's see. He explains the makeup of the spider legs is quite simple. It's just pistons and I don't know. I'm not a but that the germ that's running through the air that's coming from these decaying things, the germ that it's what is sentient basically. So the germ in it is what's really powering and moving the machine. That, the germ is alive and sentient, like I was trying to say. I guess a lot of germs are alive and sentient, but this one is more sentient in the case of... As we're going to go on and see, here's the face of the Death-Stench. So that's what the germs... That's what the germs look like. That's the face of the Death-Stench right there. That's what the germs are. I guess it's supposed to be these dead souls are part of the germ. Whatever. So, I guess it's sentient in the case that spirits could be controlling it or whatever. So Tadashi sits to watch the news, and no one is talking about their theory about the germ. Nobody knows even of that event at all because it was covered up, probably. Let's see. Tadashi smells the smell coming from the room Kaori is chilling in back there in the lab. He runs in to go and save her, and she's like, "No, get out, no, get out." He's like, "No, I've got to save you from whatever creature's in here." Yeah, turns out she is the creature that's in there. She is putrid. I mean, when she says stuff, it's like that scene from SpongeBob where he's like filling up the room with his bad breath. It's like, and there's a scene where there's like a behind scene where the air is constantly coming out of her butt too, like a constant fart as well. Some of these parts in it, they made me laugh, obviously. But it ultimately was awesome. Let's see. The TV flips on to bring breaking news. Millions of the fish spider-leg creatures are now invading and coming onto land, even massive ones like a whale. Although when it got fully on land, as it fell because like the legs couldn't hold it. It went from being on water to misjudging how much weight it could hold. Came on land, the legs got destroyed pretty much. But I'll put that mega scene in there with the whale right now. So Kaori proceeds to try to throw herself off the balcony to try to kill herself, right? Tadashi catches her, pulls her back. Kaori asks Tadashi if he's gonna get rid of her, as she's disgusting now. In a classic bad boyfriend Tadashi fashion, just says, Kaori, ... Leaves the room. My man. So, Kaori then tries to hang herself, like to her ceiling fan in the room, and she's got the gas coming out of her ass, and it's flinging her around the room, like the meme, like, the potato flew around the room. She's like literally flying around the room. And, like, it fails because the rope breaks, and she falls to the ground. Tadashi runs in, and he's like, what the fuck? And he picks her up. He's like, I gotta call an ambulance. Oh, wait, there's no one gonna rescue her. I gotta run her ass to the hospital. So he runs her. Let's see. Oh, yeah, he's trying to run her to the hospital. Then they encounter another great white on spider legs. It chases them down an alley, and they manage to escape. Just barely by hopping the fence to get into Koyanagi's lab. Koyanagi says he will take her to the hospital in his car, tells Tadashi to stay, and drives away. Tadashi tells Miss Yoshiyama, hey, I'm just gonna go home, I guess, like, nothing I can do now, right? So he goes home, he's on his way walking home, and then there's a squid with the spider legs in a fucking bush, and I guess him walking there startles the squid, and it gets up and it grabs him with a tentacle, and it runs down the road with him, dragging him all the way, bouncing, and it slings down an alley, and the arm decays and snaps of the squid, and it slings him into a literal like industrial like pit, like no walls to climb out of, like a legitimate pit filled with millions of these little spider leg creatures. And that's when he starts to see the faint blue glow of the Death-Stench. He can slightly see it, but he can't see the faces. He can only see like the aura of it. It's not a menacing aura, it's like a light blue aura. I guess something like, let's see, something like that. He's like, the light blue aura. Whoa, bro. So let's see. He manages to wake up. He is in the hospital. The nurse says, wow, I'm glad you're up. We actually need your beds, so you gotta get the hell out of here. He's like, how long have I been out? Oh, it's only been a month. He's only been out 1 whole month. So Like, I thought he legitimately died there in that pit. I legitimately thought that was the ending of his story there. I was like, oh, crap, okay, he's done. But no, he wakes up in the hospital. So the air, you can tell, is all stagnant and potent with this stuff in the manga now. I mean, it's just everywhere, hazy everywhere, around their heads and everything. Let's see. So Tadashi's like, is Kaori here at the hospital? And they say no. So he goes back to Koyanagi's lab and he asks his uncle, where's Kaori? His uncle says, sadly, Kaori died. She passed away from the infection. The germs were too much and she died. And Tadashi sobbed. Goes to bed that night. Miss Yoshiyama wakes him up. Hey, Kaori's alive. So we gotta show you what we've done to her. And they go back there, and well, I'm just gonna include the scene here, just so you guys can see. And the dad is like, no, don't rescue me. This is a principal post. If you rescue me, the whole house is coming down with me. And so they're like, so what the hell do you want us to do? And he's like, just leave me here. And that's literally the end of the story. Is I love this one. I love this so much. He literally dies there. He's there. He's like, and we'll never find out how he got underneath the principal post. Then we get to our next story, The Enigma of Amigara Fault. This one kind of scares me a little bit. I won't lie. This one scares me more than the original story scared me. So, it begins like there's like a tremor been happening in this place, Amigara Fault. People are going out there. These two hikers are going out there. I don't know if it's a boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't know if it's ever made clear. But then they come upon this fault, and they're coming out here because they've seen something on TV, and this is what they've seen. This came up from the ground from an earthquake. Thousands of these human-shaped holes, right? So it's like, why are these here, you know? And then you kind of tell the girl is like, she's like, I saw it on TV. And the guy's like, what'd you see? She said, I saw my hole. It was my shape. It was for me. And he's like, no, don't be crazy. She's like, no, it was my hole. It was for me. And then one guy comes along and he's like, so you too. My name's Nakagaki. He says, yeah, this hole is mine, and I finally found it, and I'm going through it. And he does. He takes off his clothes, and he goes through the hole. And they're like, whoa, are you crazy? And he goes through the hole. He sure does. So the rescue squad comes and they stick a fiber, like a 30-meter fiber pole down there. They see no trace of him or whatever. So it's like, where are these people going? One of them has a nightmare about Nakagaki. He was completely trapped in a hole. And it's pretty scary looking. It's like, I mean, imagine waking up in a dream and this is your dream. And this is your dream. I mean, my God. So anyways, they find her hole, the girl's hole. An insane feeling of dread comes over her. She's freaking out. She's freaking out. And then the kind of the thing that draws her back a little bit is another guy is freaking out. I'm going to include this. He says, "It was made for me." And then he's like, "I have to go in. Tell my mom goodbye." That would be me. And then he goes into the hole and he disappears in there. And a bunch of people are doing it. The girl is saying, her hole is saying, "Come into me." It's like some of these is like a joke, but this one is got a good spooky ending to it. She's freaking out about it, and so the guy, he's like, "Don't worry, I'll fill it with rocks," and he fills it with rocks. And he's like, "See, you don't gotta worry about it anymore. Your hole is not there." Later that night, they camp out. They kiss, and later that night, the guy has another dream. This one's kind of like, I guess, more related to the story, so I'm gonna tell it. That night, I had another nightmare. It was another time. I don't know how long ago. I had committed a horrible crime, and I was about to be punished. Actually, it was more like a death sentence. Along the cliff walls were countless holes for criminals executed in the past. When a person committed a crime of my magnitude, the people in the past would dig human-shaped holes. I was about to enter this hole. I felt the cold stone on all sides around me. I had no choice but to move forward into the claustrophobia all around. The walls were carved in a way that kept you from retreating. I was sliding slowly down, moving forward with each movement I made. And with time, I felt a tug on my neck. To my horror, the part corresponding to my neck only got longer and longer, stretching until it should have torn. No, not just my leg, my neck, my leg, my arms, my legs, my torso, the whole stretched out into several directions at once. And yeah, as you can see in the dream, that's exactly what happens. And he's screaming, "Someone, anyone, help me!" Pretty scary to think. I could see people doing this though, like the Call of the Void shit. People would so jump into the hole that looks like them. So totally would do this. Not me. People would though. He wakes up from his bad dream and he's like, "Oh shit, where's my girl? Where's my lady friend?" He runs to her hole and the rocks have been dug out and she's went down her hole. And then he looks over a little bit to his right and he drops the flashlight and he looks over to his right and that's where his hole is, his human-shaped hole. He says, "This is my hole." And then he basically, I'm gonna show it, like he basically goes dead-eyed. And it's almost like, it's like I was saying, the Call of the Void. I can't tell if he's not been like possessed or if this is like his body has to do it. That's kind of maybe what's going on. Like the brain has shut off and now he is possessed. He has to go in that hole. He takes off his clothes and he goes in the hole. And then we have a cut to several months later. And we have a crew saying, "Professor, here it is." And just as that climber informed us, so there was a fault on the other side of that mountain. I'm sure this was formed by the earthquake as well, but unlike on the other side, this one's quite small. Haha, take a look at this. There are holes, but they're not human-shaped. Don't really have any form. Oh, boy. I wonder if they're connected to the ones over there. I'm going to take a look. Worker shines his flashlight in there. "Sir, I see something. It's slowly coming this way." And it's like, yeah, it's a corpse. Whew. Spooky. And then we have a cool little ending shot of Kaori and Tadashi and Miss Yoshiyama just for you guys to see. So yeah, that's like the machine his uncle made for the poor girl. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning into this channel. Yeah, have a great day. Please like and subscribe. Bye-bye.